You did not click on this by accident. You clicked because today has been loud. Numbers, meetings, messages that never quite stop. You are not looking for more noise or more opinions. You want to step outside the small circle of your own life for a while and look at something bigger than any deadline you have ever met. Maybe you expected to leave Earth for that, to drift toward far galaxies and dark objects in the deep sky. But before you go there in your imagination, there is one simple truth worth sitting with. You are already on an alien world. Right now, as you lie there, your body is resting on the surface of a sphere about 8,000 miles wide. That sphere is spinning at roughly 1,000 miles an hour while it races around the sun at tens of thousands of miles an hour. The sun itself is orbiting the center of the galaxy at hundreds of thousands of miles an hour. All of this is happening at once, and yet your keys stayed in the bowl by the door, and your coffee stayed in the mug this morning. You came here for something soothing, for a presence in the dark that does not try to sell you anything or scare you into paying attention, for facts that are real and sharp enough to wake up your curiosity, but gentle enough to let your shoulders drop. You want to feel small in the good way, not the helpless way. You want the kind of scale that reminds you your worst day is a moment, not a verdict. Tonight you are not leaving Earth. You are going to see why this planet would look like a science fiction setting to anyone who was not born here. You will meet a creature smaller than a grain of sand that can be dried out, frozen, blasted with radiation, even launched into space and still come back to life. You will visit forests where trees trade food and chemical warnings through underground fungal cables, like neighborhoods passing messages through a private network. You will drift over reefs built by soft animals that stack stone towers in the dark, and hear how entire mountains of coral wait for a cue from the moon before they all release new life into the water at once. You will also hear about seeds that sleep for thousands of years before finally waking up, about tiny plants and drifting plankton that make more than half of the oxygen you take into your lungs when you sigh at the end of the day, about deserts that used to hold rivers and crocodiles. Under all of that, there is another layer. The atoms in your bones were forged in stars that died before Earth even formed. The iron in your blood was cooked in a stellar furnace. The calcium in your teeth was born in an explosion so bright it would have outshone entire galaxies for a brief, violent moment. Every time you breathe out, you add a little more carbon dioxide to the air, and some future leaf or blade of grass or plankton cell will use that carbon to build itself. Then something else will eat that, and the cycle continues. You are not just on this planet. You are circulating inside it. Most days, you move as if everything depends on your choices and your stamina. That mindset is useful at noon on a busy Tuesday, but it is heavy at midnight. Tonight is not about carrying the world. It is about remembering that the world carries you. Title: The most soothing facts about Earth to fall asleep to. Life on this rock has already passed tests more brutal than anything in your calendar. It has seen mass extinctions. It has shrugged off impacts, freezes, heat waves that lasted millions of years. It has rebuilt itself from almost nothing more than once. The fact that you can lie down right now, in a room with a roof and a door that locks, on a planet with breathable air and liquid water, is the payoff of billions of years of persistence. You do not have to memorize anything. You can let each fact drift through your mind like a slow meteor, bright for a moment and then gone. If your eyes start to close halfway through a sentence, that is perfectly fine. The story will keep going without you. So take a slow breath in. Feel the pull of gravity through the mattress, through the floor, all the way down to the dense, hot core far beneath your feet. Feel how this planet, racing through space at absurd speeds, still holds you gently in place. You do not have to do anything for that to be true. You wanted something cosmic to fall asleep to tonight. You already have it. You are lying on it. The most soothing object you will ever study is the one that never asked you to understand it in order to work. All you have to do is listen for a while, and if sleep comes, let go. Now, before your thoughts wander too far, let's meet the extreme survivors that show just how far life on this strange planet is willing to go to stay here. When you think about survival, your mind probably jumps to the big things: storms, heat waves, long winters, the rough patches you've had in your own life. But Earth plays this game on settings far beyond anything you and I will ever experience. The planet has slammed into deep freezes that turned continents into ice sheets miles thick. It has boiled its own oceans. It has been hit, burned, drowned, tilted, cracked, and rebuilt more times than we can count. And somehow, in all of that chaos, life didn't just endure, it leveled up. Tonight, you'll meet the creatures that prove it. The ones that look soft, or small, or forgettable, yet carry abilities so extreme that if someone pitched them in a science fiction meeting, they'd be told to tone it down. Take the tardigrade, for example, a creature smaller than a grain of sand. You would never notice one if it crawled across your fingertip. Its tiny legs look like they belong on a plush toy. Nothing about it says power or endurance. And yet this little thing can survive what would wipe out almost every other organism on Earth. Turn up the radiation to levels that would sterilize a lab. It carries on. Remove all the air and drop it into a vacuum. It shrugs. Crush it under pressures found in the deepest ocean trenches. No problem. Lower the temperature close to absolute zero, where even atoms barely move. Still alive. Its secret is something called cryptobiosis, a kind of full-body shutdown. The tardigrade empties the water from its cells, curls into a dried capsule, and turns off nearly everything that makes it a living thing. In this state, it doesn't eat, breathe, or grow. It just waits. And when conditions improve, it uncoils, drinks again, and resumes life as if nothing happened. Scientists once launched tardigrades into orbit, straight into raw space, exposed to radiation and vacuum, then brought them back. They rehydrated and kept going. If this were a creature in a movie, able to survive space by becoming dust and waking up later, you'd think the writer went too far. But it's real, and it's walking around in the moss outside your house. Another master of extremes is the wood frog. In the northern forests, winter hits hard and hits long, and for a small amphibian, that should be a death sentence. But the wood frog has a trick that sounds almost impossible. When the cold comes, it does not burrow deep underground or migrate to warmer places. It simply freezes. Its heart stops. Its blood turns to ice. Its organs stiffen. By every human definition, it looks dead, and yet it is not. The frog floods its cells with natural sugars that act like antifreeze, protecting the delicate internal machinery from shattering. It can stay this way for weeks. When spring sunlight returns, the ice melts, the heart begins beating, and the frog hops off to continue its year as if it didn't just spend part of it refrigerated. Imagine a creature pausing life, surviving winter as a sculpture, then walking away from it, far to the south, in waters cold enough to numb a human in minutes, lives the Antarctic ice fish. It swims in temperatures that should freeze blood solid. To survive, it evolved something biological engineering textbooks would be proud of: natural antifreeze proteins. These proteins slide between forming ice crystals and stop them from growing. Even stranger, many ice fish lack hemoglobin entirely. Their blood is nearly transparent, yet they thrive where almost nothing else can. If cold is one extreme, darkness and pressure make up another. The deep ocean is a world without sunlight, where the weight of the water above is so crushing that submarines must be engineered like vaults to survive it. Down there, life has taken shapes most people never imagine. There are fish with glowing lures dangling from their heads, using living light to call prey out of the darkness. There are creatures with bodies so soft they look like drifting jelly, because anything rigid would collapse under the pressure. Some animals create their own light, pulses of blue, green, or purple that flash through the dark like signals in an underwater city. Nothing about these environments should allow life to exist, but Earth's organisms have turned shouldn't into watch this. Then there are the survivors of heat and thirst, the desert masters. The camel is one of the most famous, built not for beauty, but for efficiency. Its hump stores fat, not water, letting it burn fuel without overheating. It can lose more than a quarter of its body's water and keep going, something that would hospitalize a human. Its blood cells are shaped to flow, even when thickened by dehydration, and its nostrils can trap moisture from its own breath to recycle water back into its body. On the opposite end of the climate scale stands the Arctic fox, wearing a coat that puts human winter gear to shame. Its fur changes color with the seasons, pure white in winter, brown or gray in summer, giving it camouflage year-round. Its tail wraps around its face like a built-in sleeping bag, and its paws are covered in fur to keep contact with snow from leaching away heat. It can tolerate temperatures down to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit and still wander the tundra with steady calm. Every one of these living things carries an ability that feels like a cheat code, like someone pressed Enable Extreme Mode at creation. But these are not exceptions. They are clues. If the universe handed out a survival exam at random, radiation, freezing, crushing pressure, starvation, drought, life on Earth has already seen the questions. It has taken them. It has passed. And there is a quieter message inside all this. If creatures that look so fragile can endure conditions that violent, then maybe resilience is not always loud. Maybe toughness does not always look like strength. Maybe it looks like adapting, bending, waiting, and recovering. Maybe it looks like you, getting through a long week. You don't have to compete with these organisms, but you can take a small comfort in knowing you share the same planet that produced them, the same rules, the same atoms, the same long history of persistence. Life here is built to last. Even the smallest forms carry abilities beyond what we expect. As David Attenborough once said, life in cold places has evolved miracles of survival. You've seen a few of those miracles tonight, and there are thousands more hiding in plain sight on this world you walk every day. Now that you've met the specialists of extreme environments, it's time to see how life survives, not just in isolation, but through cooperation. Even the toughest organisms are part of something bigger. Networks and living cities you pass by every day without noticing. When you picture Earth, you might imagine a blue marble in space, a surface of mountains and oceans and drifting clouds. But beneath all that, this planet behaves less like a rock and more like an enormous layered network, a set of living systems wired together in ways you almost never see. Tonight, as you rest and let your thoughts slow down, you're going to drift through those hidden systems, layer by layer, connection by connection. And as you do, something subtle begins to settle in. You are not a solitary creature trying to manage everything alone. You are a node inside a web that has been running for hundreds of millions of years. Start with a forest, not the surface view, not the trunks, or the leaves, or the moss. Go deeper, below the soil, into the dim space around the roots. Down here, something remarkable happens. Threads of fungi wrap around and between the roots, forming networks so fine they look like white smoke frozen in place. These networks are called mycorrhizal networks, and they turn a forest into something that behaves much more like a giant, shared body than a group of individual trees. Sugars flow along these fungal threads from trees that have plenty to trees that are struggling. Warnings travel too. Chemical messages that say, insects are coming, or a fungus is spreading. Some trees act like hubs, older and larger than the rest, storing energy and passing it to younger saplings that cannot reach the sunlight yet. These are sometimes called mother trees, not because they birthed anything, but because they support the next generation in ways science is only beginning to map. When one of these older giants begins to die, something almost poetic happens. It transfers its remaining nutritional wealth, its final reserves of nitrogen and carbon, back into the network so other trees can use it. There is no forest CEO, no central brain, no command center, and yet the whole system makes decisions that benefit the group. It holds itself together with quiet cooperation, over and over, season after season. Travel now to the ocean and imagine sinking past the bright surface into the warm, shallow waters where coral reefs live. A coral polyp is tiny, smaller than a grain of rice, soft, translucent, and almost invisible against the rock. But give these small creatures time, and an entire city rises from their collective effort. Each polyp builds a minuscule structure of calcium carbonate. One becomes a building. Thousands become a block. Millions form towers and bridges and arches, a skyline no human hand has designed. Only about 1% of the ocean floor contains reefs, and yet these cities hold roughly a quarter of all marine life. Fish, crabs, eels, octopuses, creatures that depend on every crevice for shelter. At night, the reef glows with motion and light as animals hunt, feed, and hide among the coral towers. Once a year, often guided by the moon, something astonishing happens. Corals release their reproductive cells all at once in a synchronized event called spawning. It looks like a snowstorm rising from the ocean floor, billions of tiny spheres drifting upward together, carried by currents, as if the entire reef is taking a single collective breath. Just like the forest, the reef has no leader, no master planner, and yet it behaves like a living metropolis. Connections layered inside connections. Now shift inward, into yourself, into the vast and busy world inside your own body. Right now, while you lie still, trillions of tiny lives are working overtime so your heart can keep its quiet rhythm. Your gut, your skin, your mouth, even the surface of your eyes host entire nations of bacteria and fungi. They help digest your food, produce vitamins, tune your immune system, communicate with your nervous system, and play a surprisingly strong role in your mood. You are not just one organism. You are a walking habitat, a planet to small creatures that depend on you as much as you depend on them. If they vanished, your digestion would break down, your immune defenses would falter, and your health would collapse in ways modern medicine still struggles to predict. You, in a very real sense, are a distributed system. Life inside life. Layers supporting layers. And the pattern does not stop there. Out in the world, ants build bridges from their own bodies. Each ant hooks onto another, forming a flexible chain that can adjust its length and shape based on what the colony needs. These living structures can stretch across gaps, redirect traffic, or hang from branches like temporary scaffolding. Termites do something equally impressive. Their mounds rise from the ground like miniature skyscrapers, complete with ventilation systems that regulate temperature and humidity. Without electricity, without a blueprint, without a boss, the colony works as one. They constantly adjust tunnels, widen pathways, and open vents, maintaining stable conditions inside even when the outside temperature swings wildly. Look at all of these systems together. Forests, reefs, microbiomes, colonies, and a theme emerges. These are not top-down structures. They are distributed, decentralized networks. They are systems where each individual performs a simple job, and the sum of those jobs produces intelligence, stability, and resilience far beyond what any one member could manage alone. And here's the quiet invitation in all of this. Even when you feel isolated inside your own head, your body and your planet are running networks that never stop looking out for balance. There is a constant, gentle negotiation happening around you and inside you. Nutrients shared, signals passed, hazards communicated, resources redistributed. Layer by layer, over and over, life keeps adjusting the system so it can hold itself together. For a moment, think of the view of Earth from the International Space Station. A dark planet lit by delicate webs of light along coastlines and cities. Now imagine a coral reef glowing in the dark water and a forest pulsing underground with slow chemical traffic, and the microbiome inside you humming with microscopic motion. These are all versions of the same thing, complex networks that no one really sees, but that every life form depends on. Carl Sagan said, "We are not separate from the environment, we are a part of it." You can feel that truth more clearly when you see how many layers of connection are supporting you even now. There is something comforting in realizing you are not standing alone on a blank rock. You are resting inside a carefully woven system built by millions of years of cooperation and adaptation. These networks keep life going. But some creatures have pushed even further, bending the rules of time itself. Time on Earth does not move the way it moves in your life. To you, a year can feel long. A decade can feel like an era. A lifetime feels like the grand arc in which everything important must fit. But to this planet, your lifetime is a short spark, a brief glow on a timeline so vast it can barely be imagined. Tonight, you'll drift into that long timeline, the deep time layer where life stretches itself across centuries, millennia, and entire geological ages. And as you rest, these stories begin to soften the weight of whatever deadlines or crises followed you into the evening. Start with a creature so small and delicate that you could miss it even while holding it in your hand. The immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii. Imagine something the size of a grain of rice drifting through the sea. It has almost no brain, no bones, no agenda beyond staying alive and floating toward food. And yet, hidden inside its simple body is one of the strangest abilities life has ever invented. When this jellyfish is injured, starving, stressed, or simply aging, it can reverse its life cycle. Not slow down the aging, reverse it. It turns its adult cells back into the equivalent of stem cells, drops to the ocean floor, and reverts to its juvenile form. It is as if a grown person could shrink into a child again, wiping the slate clean, ready to start from the beginning. Scientists call this biological immortality, though the jellyfish can still be eaten, crushed, or killed by illness. But left alone in calm water, it may never truly age. It can restart its clock over and over, generation after generation, a quiet rebellion against the rule that every living thing must move forward into decline. Shift now to something even quieter, a seed, something dry, hard, and seemingly lifeless, a motionless capsule small enough to lose between two fingers. And yet, inside some seeds, life waits with a patience humans cannot imitate. In Israel, researchers once germinated a date seed recovered from a desert fortress, a seed that had been dormant for 2,000 years. 2,000. Longer than most civilizations, longer than many religions. A seed that sat through empires rising and falling, carried across centuries by stillness. When it finally sprouted, it did not creak, or weep, or hesitate. It simply did what seeds do. It reached for light, a living message from a past so distant that our modern world would have seemed like fiction to the people who last held that seed in their hands. Seeds are time capsules, not because they hold information, but because they hold possibility. They are a reminder that dormancy is not failure. Sometimes life pauses, quietly, until the conditions return that allow it to unfold again. Now, move to the high forests of Utah, where a grove called Pando spreads across the soil. At first glance, it looks like thousands of individual aspen trees, thin white trunks standing in the wind, leaves trembling with every breeze. But below the surface, they are all one being, a single connected root system wearing 100,000 trunks like a shimmering costume. This organism has been alive for thousands of years, possibly tens of thousands. While human history repeated its cycles of war, rebuilding, migration, and reinvention, Pando kept growing new stems, dropping old ones, and sending out roots in slow, steady waves. It is not timeless. It changes constantly. But its identity, its underlying self, is ancient. One mind, many bodies. The idea of a tree collapses here. What you see above the soil is temporary. What you don't see, the roots, the memory of the forest, is what endures. Go back even further to the shallow coastal waters of Australia and the Bahamas, where structures called stromatolites rise from the seafloor like knobby rocks. They are built by cyanobacteria, some of the earliest architects of life on this planet. These living mounds are linked to organisms that oxygenated the atmosphere billions of years ago. Long before plants, long before animals, long before anything that breathes today could have existed, stromatolites are living fossils, not because they are old, but because they belong to a way of life that shaped the world. In their slow, layered growth, they carry the memory of an oxygen-poor Earth turning into an oxygen-rich one, the moment that opened the door for everything else. Without them, there would be no forests, no reefs, no people lying back at night, listening to stories like this one. And then there are the sharks, creatures that glide through the dark with a calm that borders on arrogance. Sharks appeared on this planet before trees did, before flowers, before the continents took their modern shapes. Their basic body plan has worked for hundreds of millions of years. When a design is that effective, evolution does not tinker with it. Long before mammals existed, long before any human ancestor took a step on land, sharks swam through oceans filled with creatures we would not recognize today. And yet, if one of those ancient sharks swam past you now, you would recognize it instantly. Its outline has survived extinctions that wiped out nearly everything else. This is durability written in muscle and bone. Think of what all these lives represent. Jellyfish that rewind themselves, seeds that wake after millennia, forests that breathe as one organism, bacteria that change the sky, predators designed so perfectly they barely needed to change at all. Life on Earth has bent time, paused it, stretched it, endured through it, and occasionally stepped sideways around it. John McPhee once said, "Deep time is so nearly invisible to the human mind that we can only handle it in metaphors." He was right. You can't truly picture 1,000,000 years, let alone 1,000,000,000. But you can feel the calm that comes from knowing time on Earth is bigger than any stress inside your chest. Whatever today felt like, whatever deadlines or crises kept your shoulders tense, to this planet, they are a single heartbeat. One quick pulse inside a story that began long before you were born and will continue long after your concerns have faded. There is comfort in that, not because your life is small, but because it is surrounded by something vast. Because the world has patience where you have pressure. Because the planet has seen ages come and go without ever forgetting how to support life. If time on Earth can stretch that far, what kind of minds has it had time to grow? You've spent your whole life inside one mind, your own. Every thought you've ever had has taken place behind one pair of eyes, through one nervous system, shaped by one history. It's easy to assume that intelligence looks like us, upright, verbal, logical, reflective. But Earth has had hundreds of millions of years to experiment with thinking, solving, remembering, and adapting. And some of the minds it has produced live in bodies so different from yours that calling them smart feels almost too small a word. As you settle a little deeper into whatever is supporting you, imagine drifting down into the ocean, into the dark, shifting space where an octopus moves across the seafloor. If intelligence is usually housed in a skull, an octopus breaks that rule immediately. 2/3 of its neurons live in its arms. Each arm can taste, touch, and make decisions semi-independently, solving problems while the central brain works on something else. This creature can slip through a hole the size of a coin, camouflage itself in less than a second, open jars, break out of aquariums, and mimic the movement of other animals. But its strangest trick may be internal. Octopuses can edit their own RNA, changing how their neurons operate on the fly. It's as if your brain could rewrite its software in real time to adjust to a new environment. No wonder someone once called the octopus the closest thing to an alien we've ever met on Earth. Move now from the deep ocean to the clean surface of a mirror. A very human invention that ended up revealing something profound. The mirror test sounds simple. A scientist places a harmless mark on an animal's forehead or body, then lets it see itself in a mirror. If the animal touches the mark on its own body, rather than on the reflection, it recognizes the image as itself. It understands, on some level, that is me. Chimpanzees passed this test decades ago. They touched the mark, inspected their faces, and sometimes even checked their teeth. Dolphins passed it too, twisting and rolling in front of the mirror to inspect body parts they'd never seen before. Elephants passed it with slow, deliberate movements, using their trunks to explore the spot on their heads. Magpies, small birds with black and white feathers, passed it as well. Even manta rays seem to show signs of self-recognition, gliding repeatedly in front of mirrors and performing curious patterns. Imagine how strange that is. Your species is not the only one that can see itself knowing it is seeing itself. Minds bloom in many forms. Dolphins go even further. When a dolphin is born, the others in the pod create a unique whistle for it, a signature sound that functions like a name. It's not trained, not taught by humans, but something dolphins do for each other. They call to specific individuals, and those individuals respond. In some cases, dolphins have been recorded calling the whistle of a companion that went missing, as if checking whether an old friend might still be somewhere within range. Elephants share their own kind of emotional depth. They touch the bones of fallen members of their group, lingering over the skull or tusks with their trunks. They stand guard beside a dying elephant, gently nudging and rumbling, the way you might stay with someone you care about in their final moments. Families return to the same spot years later, pausing as if remembering. Intelligence is not just problem solving. Sometimes it is the quiet recognition of loss. But even the small minds carry surprises. Bees, whose brains are barely larger than a grain of sand, can understand the concept of zero. They can learn that nothing is less than one, and one is less than two, organizing an abstract number line in a way that once seemed uniquely human. For an insect that weighs less than a postage stamp, this is the kind of cognitive leap that makes researchers sit back in their chairs for a moment. And then there are the crows. Crows can use tools, shape tools, store them for later, and even plan more than one step ahead. A crow, caching food for winter, might show better long-term planning than some of the decisions we've made on tired Friday nights. These birds remember faces for years, cooperate with each other in small groups, and understand cause and effect at a level that rivals primates. Parrots add another layer. The African gray parrot, famous for its vocabulary, doesn't just mimic sounds, it grasps ideas. Some individuals understand same versus different, bigger versus smaller, and can even combine concepts in simple ways. It's one thing for a bird to repeat a word. It's another for it to answer a question with the correct concept. Taken together, these animals sketch a picture that is both humbling and comforting. Intelligence is not a straight line with humans at the top. It's a wide field with many peaks, each species solving the challenges of its world with tools shaped by its own body, senses, and needs. You don't share language with an octopus. You don't share shape with a dolphin. You don't share perspective with a crow. But you share something deeper, the spark that life uses to understand itself. Carl Safina once wrote, "Different animals see different worlds, but they all feel the same river of life moving through them." It's a reminder that intelligence is not just calculation. It's awareness, curiosity, memory, emotion, pattern, the ability to shape the world in small ways to make life go a little smoother. As you listen, let that widen your sense of kinship. You are part of a planet where minds have evolved again and again in forms stranger and more varied than we usually imagine. And if intelligence can bloom like this here, in arms, in wings, in fins, in feathers, then the universe has had a lot of practice. Far more practice than we give it credit for. And it's not just minds that are strange. Earth is full of bodies that rewrite their own rules. Earth didn't stop at building minds that surprise us. It also built bodies that behave like prototypes from a laboratory with no rules. If the previous part expanded your sense of intelligence, this one stretches your sense of what a body can even be. As you listen, notice the subtle feeling rising in you, a mix of wonder and amused disbelief. The same reaction men have had for centuries when encountering machines or mechanisms that seem impossibly clever. Except here, the engineering is biological. The testing ground is the entire planet, and the prototypes have been running for millions of years. Start in the ocean again, where cuttlefish drift just above the seafloor. At first glance, they look soft, almost gentle, a creature made of curves and quiet motion. But cuttlefish carry one of Earth's most extreme body hacks, instant, multi-layered camouflage. Their skin is packed with color-shifting cells that can expand or contract in milliseconds, not seconds, milliseconds. These cells change not only color, but also pattern and even texture. A cuttlefish can flatten itself to look like sand, ripple like seagrass, or flash moving stripes that confuse predators. What makes this stunning is that cuttlefish are technically colorblind. They don't see color the way we do. Instead, they perceive the polarization of light, the orientation of its waves, a detail invisible to human eyes. It's like reading a hidden layer of reality. They detect contrasts and patterns we completely miss, and then render themselves in matching detail. It's as if someone gave them the world's best graphics card and then turned off the color setting. They don't need it. Their world is coded differently. Move to land, where a plant uses math to survive. The Venus flytrap is famous for snapping shut on insects, but it does not close on accident. Each leaf has tiny trigger hairs, and the plant requires at least 2 taps on those hairs within about 20 seconds to activate the trap. 1 tap resets the timer. 2 taps means this is prey, not random dust or raindrops. Counting, real counting, done without a brain. If the fly trap were a machine, engineers would praise its energy efficiency. Closing takes enormous effort, so the plant only commits when sure. It saves its strength and spends it wisely. A small intelligence living without neurons. In the coral reefs and coastal waters, bodies shift in even stranger ways. Some fish change sex depending on the social structure around them. Clownfish, for example, the bright orange fish with white stripes, all start life male. When the dominant female of the group dies, the largest male transforms into a female. Hormones shift. Behavior shifts. The entire physiology rewrites itself to keep the group stable. Wrasse fish do something similar, flipping between roles depending on mating season, population needs, or territory demands. It's not chaos. It's adaptive design at evolutionary speed. From fish, move to mammals. Specifically, one that carries an ability as strategic as anything engineered in a factory. The kangaroo. At any given time, a female kangaroo can have 3 offspring at 3 different stages. 1 grown joey hopping outside, 1 tiny joey still nursing in the pouch, and 1 embryo held in suspension, paused mid-development. If conditions are harsh, food is scarce, or the mother needs time, that embryo waits. Its growth slows to a near stop. When the outside world improves, development resumes. It's a reproductive scheduling system, a biological pause button, built in long before humans ever dreamed of freezing embryos. Now return to the ocean floor, where one of Earth's strangest bodies drifts like a soft tube, the sea cucumber. It can liquefy parts of itself to ooze into cracks, then firm up again to anchor in place. Some species eject their internal organs when threatened, not from panic, but strategy. The guts act as decoys, confusing predators long enough for the cucumber to escape. Later, it simply grows everything back. Imagine being able to remove a part of your body to buy time in a crisis, then regenerate the missing pieces as if nothing happened. And then there are creatures that combine mechanical precision with a touch of the dramatic. The horned lizard, a small spiky reptile of the American Southwest, defends itself in one of the most unusual ways in the animal kingdom. When threatened by certain predators, it increases blood pressure around its eyes until the vessels rupture slightly, shooting a thin stream of blood at the attacker. The blood tastes foul to canines, driving them off. It's biological counterpressure, a hydraulic defense system, as surprising as it is effective. Pause for a moment and notice what these examples have in common. They are not acts of magic. They are not accidents. They are solutions. Earth is full of bodies that have solved environmental problems with ingenuity that would impress any engineer. If you stripped away the biology and described these as machines, a device that edits its own color in milliseconds, a trap that counts taps, a chassis that switches gender, a system that can liquefy to fit through tight spaces, the descriptions would sound like sci-fi. Yet they are real. They are here. They have been running longer than human technology has existed. Richard Dawkins once wrote, "Biology is the study of complicated things that give the appearance of having been designed for a purpose." And when you look at these abilities, it does feel that way. They solve problems that would challenge any designer: invisibility, efficiency, reproduction under stress, infiltration, escape, deterrence. Your own body may feel ordinary compared to these wonders, but it runs on the same rules, the same chemistry, the same evolutionary logic. The difference is not that humans are simpler. It's that Earth has explored tens of thousands of different strategies for survival, and we happen to inherit just one configuration. If anything, your body is conservative compared to what's possible. But you belong to the same playbook. You are part of the same long experiment. The more you look at this planet, the more it resembles an R&D lab where prototypes were never thrown away, only revised, specialized, and deployed in new environments. Each creature carries a story about what life can do under pressure, under darkness, under heat, under risk. These stories are not loud. They do not brag. They unfold quietly, the way evolution always does. And all of this is happening in the dark, in the light, and sometimes in their own natural glow. As the world around you gets quieter tonight, you're stepping into a part of Earth that feels softer, almost dreamlike, the world of signals. This planet does not rely only on muscle or strength. It speaks in light. It whispers in sound. It glows, pulses, hums, and sings through water, air, forest, and even inside your own body. When you let the noise of the day fall away, you begin to sense how much of this signaling has been happening all along, just below your awareness. Start with a shoreline at night. The sky is dark, the moon is low, and the waves roll in with their slow, steady breath. Then your foot brushes the water, and the ocean blooms with blue fire. Tiny sparks swirl around your ankle, spreading in rings of soft neon light. Bioluminescent phytoplankton, microscopic organisms drifting in the sea, flash when disturbed. Not because they are startled, but because the movement triggers a chemical reaction. A brief, beautiful spark. A defensive flare. A soft warning to predators. When the waves break, entire beaches can glow electric blue, stretching down the coastline like a scene from science fiction. People walk through the surf and watch the water light up around their legs. Every splash becomes a signature of light in the darkness. These glowing shores are not rare. They appear in California, the Maldives, Japan, Vietnam, and many other places. The planet has been sending these signals for ages. We only notice when we choose to walk outside after dark. Now, rise from the sea and drift into the warm air of summer fields, where small lights blink in the grass. Fireflies send messages to each other using coded pulses of yellow-green light. Each species has its own rhythm: short flashes, long glows, double pulses, slow waves. These are not random flickers. They are signals of identity, invitations, conversations. Males call through the darkness with patterns unique to their kind. Females answer with their own flashes. It is communication written in sparks, a quiet language of timing and desire. In the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches, bioluminescence becomes even more varied and creative. Some fish dangle glowing lures from their heads, mimicking the movement of prey to draw dinner close. Others pulse with blue or green light to confuse predators, creating shimmering clouds that hide their escape. jellyfish send ripples of brightness down their bodies, like lanterns drifting in a current. In this world of perpetual night, light is everything. Camouflage, communication, hunting strategy, survival. Leave the dark water now and rise into air, where sound becomes the planet's other major language. Whales sing through the ocean with voices so deep and resonant they can travel thousands of kilometers. These songs are not simple calls. They are complex, evolving compositions. Each year, parts of the song change. New patterns appear. Old ones fade. Entire populations learn the new version, like a cultural tradition passed through generations. Imagine a choir the size of an ocean basin, singing across vast distances, each note carried by salt water and pressure. Birds shape sound in their own way. Some whistle clear melodies that travel through forests. Others produce low-frequency calls that rumble across grasslands. And then there are birds like the lyrebird, which can mimic almost anything. Other birds, camera shutters, chainsaws, car alarms, folding the sounds of human and wild landscapes into a single performance. Their songs are part memory, part talent, part improvisation. Dolphins, too, send bursts of sound through water. Clicks, whistles, and rapid pulses. These clicks map their environment through echolocation, turning sound into a three-dimensional picture. They can identify objects, shapes, even the density of materials, using nothing but echoes. Some dolphin calls function like names, as you heard earlier. Signature whistles. A friend calling another friend. A mother looking for her calf. All these signals, the light of fireflies, the pulses of plankton, the songs of whales, the clicks of dolphins, seem far away from your life. But you carry your own kind of signaling inside you right now. Your brain, even as you lie here, is a dark ocean filled with tiny flashes. About 86 billion neurons fire in patterns so intricate that if you could see them from above, it might look like a galaxy made of sparks. Each neuron sends small electrical pulses to its neighbors. When you solve a problem, remember a face, feel a wave of emotion, or let your thoughts drift toward sleep. It's because those signals shift their shape and rhythm. Even in deep sleep, the signaling does not stop. Your brain hums quietly, replaying memories, resetting stress, organizing information. If someone placed a tiny light on every firing neuron, your mind would glow like a field of fireflies under a summer sky. A soft twinkling, a slow drift between brightness and rest. Some nights, you might feel like your life has been nothing but noise, chaotic, overwhelming, too loud to process. But the truth is softer. Every quiet hum in your body is part of the same language Earth has always spoken in light and sound. You carry the planet's signaling system inside you. You are not separate from it. You are another place where the language continues. Think for a moment about how these signals connect you to everything else. When you watch fireflies, you are watching a conversation. When you listen to whales, you are hearing a tradition older than any human song. When you see glowing waves, you're watching microorganisms react to your presence. And when your thoughts begin to drift as you listen now, that too is a signal. Your mind telling you it is safe to move toward rest. Carl Sagan once wrote, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." You are part of that knowing, part of that signaling, not louder than the rest. Just one note in the long, quiet composition of this planet. And while all these signals flicker and fade, life has been busy doing something even larger, quietly redesigning the planet itself. Most nights, when you think about Earth, you picture life sitting on the planet, clinging to rock, soil, water, and weather. But the deeper truth is stranger and much more comforting. Life does not simply live here. Life reshapes this world. Life edits it, stabilizes it, repairs it, and in some cases, builds it from scratch. As you settle into a slower rhythm tonight, imagine Earth not as a static globe, but as a system constantly being remodeled by the creatures that inhabit it. If an alien civilization scanned our planet from space, they might assume a great engineering species was terraforming the surface. They wouldn't be wrong. They would just be looking in the wrong direction. The greatest engineers Earth has ever known are forests, fungi, insects, wolves, algae, and organisms so small you could fit thousands of them inside a droplet of water. Begin with the rainforests, immense green engines humming quietly near the equator. The Amazon alone releases so much water vapor into the air that it helps create its own weather. Trees pull moisture from the ground, push it into their leaves, and evaporate it upward through millions of tiny pores. The vapor rises, condenses into clouds, and falls back as rain. The forest feeds itself. It keeps its climate hydrated, humid, stable. If you remove the trees completely, rainfall would collapse. Rivers would shrink. The entire region would dry out. A rainforest is not just receiving weather, it is building weather. It is climate architecture, a kind of atmospheric plumbing, a living machine. Now shrink your view from towering trees to something small enough to grow on bare rock. Lichens, they're quiet, modest organisms, a partnership between algae and fungi that cling to surfaces where almost nothing else can survive. Lichens release mild acids that slowly break down stone. Grain by grain, year by year, they grind rock into the beginnings of soil. And once soil exists, mosses arrive, then small plants, then insects, then birds, then entire ecosystems. Every forest on Earth stands on a foundation laid by creatures no taller than a coin. Life creates the land where future life will grow. Move forward in time to a creature that works underground, the earthworm. The humble earthworm might be one of the most influential engineers in human history. Charles Darwin spent his later years studying them, describing the worm as a natural plow. Their movement churns soil, mixes nutrients, adds organic matter, and creates tiny tunnels that let air and water reach plant roots. Without earthworms, agriculture as we know it would not function. Every bite of food you've ever eaten is connected to an animal most people never even notice. Life doesn't just use the soil. It rearranges it, blends it, oxygenates it, enriches it, turning hard ground into a living, breathing medium that can support forests and farms. Now zoom out and look at a much larger creature, one with paws, teeth, and a surprising talent for shaping landscapes: the wolf. The most famous example comes from Yellowstone National Park. When wolves were removed from the area, elk populations grew. They grazed heavily on young trees near riverbanks, preventing forests from regenerating. Without trees, beavers had fewer materials to build dams. Without dams, water spread too widely, eroding banks and destabilizing streams. When wolves were reintroduced, everything shifted. Elk behavior changed. They avoided certain valleys and river corridors. Trees returned. Beavers returned. Their dams slowed water, stabilized soil, and created wetlands. Fish populations rose. Songbirds increased. Even the rivers themselves changed course more slowly. Predators didn't just eat prey, they reshaped the land. A top carnivore became a hydrological engineer, triggering a ripple effect through an entire ecosystem. Life-altering physics. Now step back into the ocean, all the way back to the small, drifting organisms that power the seas. Phytoplankton. Tiny, floating cells that live in the upper layers of sunlight. Most people never think about them, but they produce more than half of the oxygen you're breathing right now. Every second breath you take is a thank you note to something too small to see. These microscopic plants take in sunlight and carbon dioxide, release oxygen, and feed the marine food chain from the bottom up. They quietly regulate the chemistry of the atmosphere. They help control the climate. They influence the cycles of carbon that shape the temperature of the entire planet. If aliens arrived and asked, "Who is in charge of this planet?" the correct answer might be the phytoplankton. Everywhere you look, life is editing the planet, shaping rivers, building weather, constructing soil, recycling nutrients, rewiring ecosystems, forming coastlines, supporting the stability humans rely on. This perspective does something subtle. It takes weight off your shoulders. Because whenever you feel like you are the only thing holding your world together, remember that the actual Earth is running countless feedback loops that stabilize everything around you. Rainforests maintaining moisture, lichens creating the first soils, worms keeping the ground fertile, wolves organizing entire river valleys, plankton refreshing the air. You matter, but you're not alone. You're not the sole guardian of anything. You are part of a living planet that has been self-correcting for billions of years. James Lovelock once wrote, "The Earth behaves as if it were a single living organism." In many ways, that's exactly what you've been hearing. A planet that responds, adjusts, balances, and evolves through the work of the life it carries. If an alien scientist landed here, they'd see a world not merely inhabited by organisms, but actively remodeled by them. They would find forests that create rain, coastlines built by coral, rivers shaped by predators, soils manufactured by worms, and skies filtered by microscopic algae. Earth is not a backdrop. It is a partnership, a collaboration between geology, chemistry, water, and living beings, all influencing each other to keep the system running. Some of the strongest hints that life can survive anywhere don't come from space telescopes, but from the strangest corners of our own world. If you could drift across Earth the way a spacecraft glides over a distant moon, you would see something surprising. This planet, familiar, warm, and comfortable, hides landscapes that look nothing like home. Some feel ancient, others futuristic, some almost impossible. Yet they're all part of the same world you walk on every day. Tonight, you'll travel through a few of those places, not in a hurry, not in a rush, but in a dreamlike glide, the way an explorer might drift through a strange new environment, quiet and observant. Start deep beneath the waves, far below the sunlit surface, where darkness becomes absolute. Down here, the pressure is so crushing that human machines buckle under it, and the water is chilled enough to stop the heart of most animals. Yet in this blackness stands one of Earth's most alien features: hydrothermal vents. Picture tall chimneys made of minerals, rising from the seafloor like black skyscrapers. Boiling water bursts from their tips, loaded with chemicals from deep within the planet's crust. Nothing here relies on sunlight. No photosynthesis. No green life. Instead, entire ecosystems live off chemistry. Bacteria that eat hydrogen sulfide, tube worms that host those bacteria inside their bodies, shrimp and crabs that graze on the microbial mats around the vents. In this place, energy comes not from the sky, but from the planet's own internal heat. Some scientists believe life on Earth may have begun here, in these chemical jungles, shielded from meteor strikes and powered by the gradients between hot vent water and cold ocean. It's a reminder that life does not need sunlight. It only needs opportunity. Now drift deeper, into ocean trenches so deep that only a handful of humans have ever visited. The pressure at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is more than 1,000 times the pressure at sea level. A single square inch of your body would face tons of weight. Yet creatures live here too. Fragile looking, transparent, glowing softly in the dark. Some resemble glass sculptures. Others float like drifting ghosts, with long filaments trailing behind them. A few carry their own lights, dots, stripes, or soft pulses that flicker like the stars above you. If someone painted these animals as concept art for a science fiction film, viewers might say they look too strange, too implausible. But they are real. They are part of Earth's inventory of experiments, a record of how life stretches itself into every possible corner, no matter how extreme. Now, rise from the depths and fly north, where winter grips the ground in thick layers of permafrost. For most of the year, the tundra looks like a frozen desert, gray, cold, empty. But then, for just a few weeks each summer, the top layer of soil thaws. Water pools on the surface. The sunlight, tilted across the horizon, glows day and night, and the tundra erupts. Flowers bloom in huge patches, yellows, purples, whites, stretching across the land like a sudden accidental garden. Insects appear by the billions. Birds migrate thousands of miles to feed. Animals race against the clock to mate, raise young, and build fat reserves before the cold shuts everything down again. Imagine an entire ecosystem sprinting through its life cycle in a single burst. A whole year compressed into a few luminous weeks. It's one of the most urgent displays of life anywhere on Earth. A reminder that even frozen places can carry an explosive memory of warmth. Now turn south, to a landscape many people know only as a symbol of heat and emptiness, the Sahara Desert. It's the largest hot desert on Earth, stretching across the top of Africa like a pale ocean of sand. But what most people do not realize is that the Sahara has not always been a desert. 6,000 years ago, this region held lakes, rivers, grasslands, herds of antelope, elephants, and even crocodiles. Human ancestors lived here, painting the animals they saw on rock walls. The desert was green because Earth's orbit and tilt shifted in a way that changed regional rainfall. When those cycles shifted again, the rain retreated, the lakes dried out, and sand reclaimed the terrain. The idea that the Sahara was once green and full of life makes the planet feel even more dynamic. Not a static map, but a world constantly reconfiguring itself. Climate zones slide back and forth across continents. Ancient lakes appear and vanish. Deserts bloom. Forests fade. Earth doesn't freeze in one state, it dances between them. When you compare these environments, boiling vents, crushing trenches, explosive tundra, ancient green deserts, you begin to see Earth the way an interstellar explorer would. Not as a comfortable homeworld, but as a gallery of extreme habitats. Some places resemble Europa, icy, dark, but carrying the possibility of deep water life. Some resemble Mars, red, dry, shaped by wind. Some resemble Enceladus, warm vents hidden beneath a frozen shell. And all of them belong to this planet. Stephen Jay Gould once wrote, "The history of life is a story of contingency and adaptation to changing worlds." If you ever feel like the world is changing too fast around you, remember this: Earth has always changed. It has always shifted, tilted, warmed, cooled, and rearranged itself. Life doesn't resist these changes. It adapts, migrates, transforms, or lies dormant until the right moment returns. There is something reassuring in that. Your life may feel unpredictable at times, but unpredictability is how this planet works. It's natural. It's familiar. It's the environment life has always been shaped by. And all through these alien corners, one quiet fact remains. You are built out of the same matter and patterns as everything you've just heard. After traveling through the strangest places on Earth, vents that glow in the dark, deserts that used to be green, tundra that blooms like a dream, it's time to come back to something quieter, something closer, something incredibly simple and incredibly easy to forget. You are not standing on this planet. You are from it. You are made of its materials, shaped by its chemistry, timed by its rhythms, carried by its gravity, and held in place by its warmth. As you breathe, shift, and settle in for the night, everything you're feeling, your tired muscles, your slowing heartbeat, the heaviness in your eyelids, is part of a story that began long before you were born. Start at the very beginning, not of your life, but of your atoms. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you're taking in right now. None of these were made on Earth. They were forged in stars, not poetic stars, not symbolic stars, real ones, giant, burning, roaring spheres of fusion that lived and exploded billions of years before the sun even formed. Heavy elements don't come from calm processes. They come from disaster, from stellar cores collapsing, from explosions bright enough to outshine entire galaxies for a moment. In those final seconds, atoms were built under pressure we can barely imagine. When the star died, it scattered those atoms across space. Some drifted for ages. Some formed new clouds of dust. And eventually, some of them fell into the swirling material that became this planet. Carl Sagan once said, "We are made of star stuff." And in the simplest, most literal sense, he was right. You are walking geology. You are ancient debris. Your bones were forged in ancient explosions. Every cell in your body is built from matter that has been traveling the universe for billions of years. Now bring your attention to carbon, the backbone of life. The carbon in your body is older than Earth itself. Tonight, with every breath in and every breath out, you're participating in a cycle that links you to every ocean, every forest, every volcano, every living thing. Carbon moves through the atmosphere as gas, through plants as sugar, through animals as fuel, through soil as organic matter, through oceans as dissolved carbon, and through rocks as carbonate minerals. It is a loop, slow in some places, fast in others, but always cycling, always moving. When you exhale, some of that carbon may join a plant tomorrow, or it may drift into the ocean next month, or fall into a raindrop next year, or be inhaled by someone on the other side of the world decades from now. Your breath is not separate from the world. It is part of the world's breathing. Move now into the quieter interior of your body, into your gut, where trillions of microscopic companions work while you rest. This microbiome helps break down food, produce vitamins, regulate inflammation, and, incredibly, influence your mood. About 90% of your body's serotonin, the chemical most associated with calm, stability, and emotional balance, is produced in the gut. When the bacteria in your gut are balanced, you feel steadier. Your mood softens. Your thoughts quiet down. The calmness you're feeling now is not an accident. It is chemistry at work, shaped by tiny organisms you will never see but rely on every day. This living partnership inside you is as old as the first animals. You carry a whole ecosystem that keeps you grounded. Now drift upward to your brain, the control room where your thoughts slowly start to fade as night deepens. All day long, your mind runs on dopamine, the chemical of motivation, tasks, goals, and decisions. It pushes you to finish things, solve things, fix things. It energizes you. It pressures you. It drives you forward. But at night, your brain begins to shift gears. Dopamine hands the controls over to serotonin and melatonin, the quieter chemical pair. Serotonin gently steadies you, helping your mind stop chasing unfinished tasks. Melatonin dims your internal lights, signaling that it's safe to rest. Your whole nervous system moves from alertness to surrender, from thinking to drifting, from doing to being. This transition is not something you have to force. It is older than your species. Every evening, your biology says, let go. You've carried enough for today. And here's the soft truth beneath all of this. Nothing about you is separate from the story you've just heard. You are stardust, held together by chemistry. You are water from ancient oceans. You are carbon borrowed from forests and plankton. You are warmth pulled from the sun and stored in muscle and bone. You are bacteria and minerals and memory and light. You are earth, taking a deep breath. You belong here, not as a visitor, but as a continuation of everything this planet has ever done. If tonight was a long day, remember, your body was built for long stories. Stories measured not in hours or deadlines, but in billions of years. Stories that began in stars and ended in you lying here now, letting your breath slow down, letting your thoughts loosen, letting your body return to its place in the long, gentle rhythm of this world. You are home. You have always been home. And if Earth has carried all of this through 5 mass extinctions and countless bad days, it can carry you through tonight. By now, you've traveled across deep oceans, ancient deserts, glowing forests, alien vents, and the long ladder of time. You've seen life stretch, fold, reinvent itself, and persist in ways that almost defy belief. But there's a larger pattern behind all of it, a pattern more soothing than any single fact. This planet endures. And because you're made from it, you endure too. Tonight, your mind might still be carrying the loose ends of the day, the mistakes, the rush, the frustrations you didn't choose, the pressure you didn't ask for. That's normal. But right now, you're lying on a world that has walked through catastrophe 5 separate times, and each time came back with new colors, new creatures, new chapters. Let's pull the camera back and look at the long, calm arc of Earth's resilience. Start with the 5 mass extinctions. Events so severe, they nearly emptied the planet. Each one erased most species alive at the time. Each one changed the rules of life. But none of them ended the story. The first mass extinction wiped out early ocean creatures when oxygen levels shifted suddenly. Life responded by reinventing complexity. The second hit when glaciers locked up water and the climate swung wildly. When the ice melted, ecosystems returned in forms more diverse than before. The third, the worst, eliminated about 90% of species. Entire forests vanished, coral reefs collapsed, but in the shadows, small survivors waited. Burrowing animals, tough microbes, resilient plants. From them came the ancestors of mammals, reptiles, insects, and more. The fourth reshaped Earth's climate again, clearing the stage for new ecosystems. And the fifth, the one most people know, marked the end of the dinosaurs. A space rock the size of a mountain struck with the force of billions of nuclear bombs. Darkness fell. Plants died. Most large animals disappeared. But once again, life found the cracks where warmth remained. Tiny mammals, seeds buried in soil, fish in deep water, amphibians hiding in mud. These small, quiet survivors became the foundation for everything that followed. If you trace the history of resilience, the heroes are rarely the biggest or the loudest. They are the small ones, the patient ones, the ones built for endurance instead of speed. Tardigrades drying themselves into dust and waking decades later. Seeds sleeping through centuries, waiting for warmth. Extremophiles clinging to hot springs, salt flats, volcanic vents, or Antarctic ice. These aren't just curiosities. They are Earth's insurance policies, proof that when things fall apart, something always remains to begin again. Now breathe for a moment and notice what that means for you, because tonight, maybe something in your own life feels like it's collapsing. A job slipping away, a relationship ending, a mistake you're still replaying, a pressure building quietly in the background. Those moments feel total when you're living through them. They feel final, defining, absolute. But on the scale of your own story, the real story, they're not endings. They're local storms. They're small collapses, personal mass extinctions that wipe out old assumptions, old routines, old expectations, but never everything. There is always a part of you that survives the impact. There is always a piece left to rebuild from. There's always something inside you shaped like a seed. Small, silent, but ready. If Earth has taught anything in its long history, it's that resilience is rarely loud. It's slow. It's patient. It's quiet. It's hidden in roots, bacteria, dust, embryos, underground tunnels, and frozen soil. And it lives in you too. You don't have to be unbreakable. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to hold everything together. You just have to be a little more like this planet, willing to rebuild even after a difficult day. When Earth resets after a catastrophe, it doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't try to replace everything it lost at once. It starts small, a sprout, a microbe, a patch of moss, a trickle of water, a single surviving lineage. And slowly, the world fills again. You can rebuild that way too. One breath, one quiet night, One small choice tomorrow morning. There's a comforting stoicism in this, a grounded strength. Tonight, let yourself rest in it. Think of today as one chapter, not the whole book. Think of your challenges as weather patterns, not permanent structures. Think of your future as something elastic, not rigid. Viktor E. Frankl wrote, "What is to give light must endure burning." You've been carrying heat all day. Stress, pressure, decisions, expectations. Now you're entering the cooling hours where light softens into something gentler. You're lying on a planet that has been bruised, bent, and broken countless times, and is still here, still blue, still full of life, still carrying you gently through space at thousands of miles per hour. The bed beneath you is connected to rock, rock connected to crust, crust connected to mantle, mantle connected to core, and all of that is holding you up right now, without effort, without condition, without asking anything of you. So, as this long story closes, there's only one more fact you really need tonight. Here you are again, right where we began. A man lying down after a long day, listening in the dark, letting the noise slowly drain from his mind. Maybe your eyes feel heavy now. Maybe your breath has softened without you noticing. Maybe some part of you has already drifted a few steps ahead towards sleep. That's exactly where this story was always meant to lead you. Tonight, you've traveled far without moving an inch. You've walked through extremes that would crush steel and watched tiny creatures outlast them. You've drifted through forests that speak in slow pulses and corals that build cities underwater. You've touched minds behind other eyes, bodies that rewrite their own rules, oceans that glow, reefs that listen, and landscapes so strange they look borrowed from other worlds. And through all of it, the same quiet truth followed you. You are made of the same materials, the same chemistry, the same patterns, the same long patience. Your bones carry stardust. Your breath carries the ocean. Your heartbeat carries the memory of every creature that adapted, waited, or held on just long enough. You've seen the small survivors that endured every extreme this planet ever threw at them. You've seen the hidden networks that keep trees alive, corals fed, and your own mind balanced. You've seen the intelligence scattered across species, dolphins calling each other by name, crows shaping tools, elephants remembering their dead. You've seen alien corners of this world, vents that glow without sunlight, deserts that once were green, tundra that blooms fast enough to race winter. And every bit of that story lives in you. You're not separate from it. You're a chapter of it. So now, as this long journey folds into a soft landing, you can let today release its grip. Everything waiting for you tomorrow can wait. The email can wait. The news can wait. The plans, the problems, the thoughts that pestered you earlier. All of them can sit quietly on the shelf until morning. This planet has spun through 5 mass extinctions. It has rebuilt oceans, regrown forests, reinvented life itself. It has survived asteroid strikes, volcanic winters, and ice ages. It has done this for billions of years without rushing, without panic, without losing its way. It does not need you to solve anything tonight. It simply needs you to rest on it. You can trust that the ground beneath you is steady. You can trust that the air around you is enough. You can trust that the planet is on night shift, carrying every storm, every orbit, every quiet process that keeps this world going. Right now, Earth is turning slowly under your body, as it always has. A soft blue ship drifting through space, steady and old and gentle in its own way. You are lying in one small cabin of that ship. Lights dim, engines humming at a constant rhythm. Nothing is required of you. Nothing is demanded. All you have to do is breathe. Quiet in, quiet out, letting each breath loosen something inside your chest. You are safe. You are held. You are carried by a planet that has been practicing resilience for a very long time. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is rest. Mark Black. So let the day fall away. Let your shoulders sink. Let your thoughts dissolve into something softer. You don't need to stay awake for the ending. There is nothing to miss. The story has already done its job. Tonight, you don't have to solve Earth. You only have to rest on it. Good night, traveler. You're home. The universe can wait until morning.